Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Reba Nance, and I'm the Director of Law Practice Management and Risk Management with the Colorado Bar Association. It's my pleasure today to welcome you to Tech Tuesdays. The topic for the day is iPad for Lawyers, and we're thrilled to have Doug McQuiston as our presenter. A couple of quick housekeeping matters. This is being recorded, and we will put it up on the website at www.cobar.org/techtuesdays. So you'll be able to listen to it or let others know that it's available and be able to access it there at any time. We are using join.me. That means, unfortunately, they do not have the ability to mute people. So any noise that you are making, whether it's shuffling papers, the good news is that everything comes through loud and clear. The bad news is that we will be able to hear those papers shuffling or anything like that. So I would ask you, please, to turn your cell phones to vibrate and to try to keep the outside noise to a minimum. I'll go ahead and have Doug get started. Doug is going to attempt to allow some questions at the end. If we don't have time for that, feel free to email me, reban@cobar.org, and I can send those along to Doug, and he may also give his email out. So Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thanks for presenting today.
Thanks, Reba. This is going to be an interesting experience because I'm doing this remotely, which kind of segues into why I've kind of become a mobile lawyer. It's more by necessity than anything else. I currently, in my practice, manage 5 offices in 5 different states in the West and happen to be in Portland, Oregon today. So I'm presenting this via my MiFi broadband wireless modem on my MacBook Air. And hopefully everybody sees the beginning of the PowerPoint presentation we're going to zip through. A lawyer practicing in Colorado. I've been licensed since 1981, so it's 32 years. And over the years have become more and more dependent on technology to get my job done. Currently, our office use electronic case files. We don't keep paper files anymore. And one of the viewers indicates she doesn't have a video on. I guess I can't ask if everybody can see. Reba, can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
I can.
Okay. There may be some issues on some of your screens, but all of you should be able to see the screen. What we're going to do is zip through some PowerPoint slides for probably the first half of this, and then the second half, hopefully have a chance to show you some of the applications on the iPad via iPad mirroring that I use a lot in my daily practice. This is, as we've talked about before, more about the right tool at the right place at the right time. Laptops aren't going away, contrary to what you might have read in some articles, anytime soon. Now, they may someday. Someday we may have tablet devices that are strong enough and powerful enough with big enough screens that we will be able to use just tablets. But at this point, anyway, what I tell people is it's all about what you want to use when, what tool you best.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Somebody's moving something in their office, so could you help us out, please, by not doing that? Thank you.
And Reba, and I can't, because I'm on the presentation, I can't control the join.me application, but I see something here that viewer 6 is requesting control. I don't know who viewer 6 is.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't do this and also troubleshoot. So I think somebody just clicked the wrong button. So.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to zip out of the presentation and start viewer 6 if you have it. So here we are. We'll call the iPad as a yellow pad with superpowers. Everybody uses their yellow pads now. They go to a meeting, they go to a deposition, go to a hearing, and they'll record notes on their yellow pad. They might make notes for their presentations or hearings or trials on the yellow pad, use the yellow pad to read from. The iPad does all of this and then some, obviously. It's about the same form size, but it's got just about everything you could possibly need. What I use for most of the time is I use it extensively with presentations. Right now, this presentation that you're seeing is was developed, I wrote it on the iPad. It's showing through my MacBook Air at the moment, but use Keynote, which is Apple's presentation software. When you look at your MacBook, you'll see that you have Keynote. It also views or runs PowerPoint slides. There's a PowerPoint application you can download for the iPad that will let you create PowerPoint slides. There's also another presentation software piece that I use all the time called SlideShark. SlideShark is a nice application because it's got a different screen that shows for the presenter. So he or she can keep track of the time of slides, keep track of how long they have left in their presentation time or hearing time, etc. So it's not only a good opportunity, I use these all the time for presentations like today, but for any kind of hearing. I've used it in mediations, so it becomes a very handy way of presenting information to people straight from the iPad. Another application I use all the time is called iAnnotate PDF. It lets you view and mark up PDF documents on the iPad. So if you're using electronic files, it's a very handy way to look at all of your case file documents, mark them up. You can use call-out tools, all of the things you're used to using in Adobe, you can use right on the iPad. You can draw on it. You can set up text boxes and type in them. So how do we do this, and how do we take content from my iPad to you that we're doing right now? How that's working right now is by an application called AirPlay. Now, at the moment, I'm only running on the MacBook Air. I have the iPad here, and we're going to look at some applications on it in a minute. But AirPlay basically allows me to connect the MacBook, if I wanted, to a projector, or in this situation, we're presenting it actually via a web conference. And because I have control of the conference, people are seeing what's on the screen. It's a way of cutting the wire and letting us do this from basically anywhere we have to be. So what else do you need if you're going to start using the iPad in a daily law practice? Well, if you've taken a look at your iPad's storage, you've probably found that you might have 32 gigs or 16 gigs of storage, but that storage is loaded up with things like music, pictures, maybe a movie or two. The applications take up space, and you find that you're quickly running out of room. I don't usually recommend that people do not use the iPad as a storage device for any of your client files, law firm information, etc. Don't get into the habit of keeping things on the iPad. The iPad should be used to view them, but you should actually keep your documents and case files, etc. In your law firm's document management or case management application. All of the applications, the case management programs out there have or are developing Apple iPad applications that you can download for free, and basically allows you to see your firm's case file via the iPad. The nice feature about that is the files don't live on your iPad, so if you lose the iPad, no one can get to your client files, which brings up, we'll talk about in a moment, data security. But how do you then, if you want to move documents in and out of the iPad, how do you do that? There's several ways currently. You can use a portable hard drive. On the slide, you'll see the guy holding something in his hand. That's called an AirStash portable hard drive. Inside that device is just basically a memory card, an SD memory card, and you can set that up with as much memory as you want, load it with as big a memory card as you can, up to 100 gig, however large you can get the micro SD card to fit into. It's basically a USB device. You plug it into your laptop, download whatever files you want onto it, and then when you're out and you don't happen to have the laptop with you, you can view any of those documents on the iPad wirelessly. It becomes basically a wireless drive, and you can see any document you have on it, work on the document, put it back into the drive, and when you get back to the office, synchronize it. You can also use cloud storage sites. I use Box.com. It has, I think, more robust security to it than Dropbox. Some lawyers use Dropbox. Some use Google Drive. I would not recommend Google Drive for client files. I don't think it's secure. So, data security. That slide talks about your company's policy. The same would hold true for your law firm. Before you use your iPad for any kind of law-related or client-related information, get to know how to manage data security. I tell people, do not use unsecured wireless. What do I mean by unsecured wireless? You're working in the local Starbucks, you're hanging out at opposing counsel's office and they offer you the use of their wireless network. You're at the local mediator's office and they give you access to their wireless network. I generally tell people to develop the habit of not using those networks. It doesn't, I don't automatically assume people speak to me, but I don't want to have the opportunity to do this. So, anytime I'm using my iPad for work, I use the MiFi wireless modem. It's quick, it's reliable, it's very inexpensive, and it's highly secure. Only you are on that device, or only people you give permission and your encryption key to use the device for wireless internet access. So if I'm using my iPad for work, I do not hop onto the Wi-Fi at the airport or the Wi-Fi at the local Starbucks. Please don't use it. And I generally tell people to develop that app. If you can see the poor guy looking over his shoulder with the video camera, even things like video cameras are very easy to stash where you can't even see them. And someone could have a video posed right at your keyboard, and they could be keylogging you that way. They can also hack straight in and keylog you, find out every keystroke you hit, and before long they're in your computer staring at it like the guy in the video. MiFi is reliable. Anywhere you have a cell signal, you can get on it. I've never had mine not find a signal or not work. Obviously, in certain parts of the country, if you're in remote sections of Colorado, you may not have a cell signal, but it works just about everywhere you've been. So how do we use our iPad as our office in our hands? The applications that I'll show you here in a minute, I'll show you a few of them, but I use all the time. Office 2 HD, that is indispensable in my view. It basically allows you a full Office suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. right on the iPad. You can create documents, edit them, mark them up, move them in and out of box storage on box.com, move them out of wireless. Look at any case file you have, and that being able to work in Microsoft Word, all the features you're familiar with. There are other document preparation applications out there if you prefer. Use those. Excel spreadsheets. I'm not a huge spreadsheet guy. One of the reasons I went to law school was they promised me there'd be no math. But if you work with spreadsheets, etc., a lot, Office 2 has a full-featured Excel spreadsheet application built in. You can create them, you can edit them, you can view them, and it's actually as powerful as what's I annotate PDF. That's a PDF marking application. It lets you see PDF documents, portable documents. That's the Adobe kind of universal document convention. iAnnotate lets you open them, you can mark them up, you can have text boxes, call-outs, you can type into them, you can strike out, you can do all kinds of things on a PDF document. And then if you choose to, save the document that you've marked up as a different document. Send it around to people via email straight from your iPad. Or you can choose not to save the changes you made in the PDF station. Reader is basically just a reading application. You can read PDFs, it reads other formats pretty well. I don't use that as much anymore because I've kind of gravitated to annotate PDF. Adobe Create PDF. If you're comfortable working in Adobe Acrobat, the Create PDF tool is kind of a miniature, powered-down version of it. It lets you create PDFs, it lets you save documents as PDFs, and then you can do some marking up, that sort of thing. As we said before, all of the case management applications or programs you're used to working with at the office have iPad applications. Some of them even have Android applications if you're using Android devices. Those are amazing because you can do just about everything you can on case files on a laptop in the office, right on the iPad, no matter where you happen to be. There are also lots of different ways to access your office email on the iPad. You're out and about, maybe you're on off hours and you're taking your iPad somewhere. You need to get an office email. There's an application called software which allows you to access corporate or law firm email through the good application. Microsoft Exchange is also a way to create a tunnel into your office email and see and react to emails, calendaring, task reminders, etc. in real time. Anything you do on the application, when you set up an appointment or you're responding to an email, automatically synchronizes with your office email back at the office. Some of the others I use a lot, the speech-to-text, text-to-speech applications. This is dictating. The nice thing about the iPad is it has built-in dictation, but you can also download a Dragon application if you're used to using Dragon Naturally Speaking. There's some translation applications out there that come in handy in a pinch. They're not great for translating long speeches or speaking to each other in real time, but if you need to communicate with someone in a foreign language, the translation apps out there are very powerful for that. You can type in what you want to be translated, and it will translate it into the language you specify, or you can even speak to your iPad what you need to translate and push the translation button, and it will translate it for the person. A lot of people, when they're traveling, find these applications, and obviously they exist on the iPhone as well. Very handy if you get sick in a foreign country and you don't know how to speak Turkish. You can tell your iPad to translate "my stomach hurts" into Turkish for the doctor to hear, and it's actually very accurate. Like I said, I wouldn't use it for long conversations. But for getting around with a foreign language, or if you have a client that doesn't speak English, it can be very handy in translating conversations back and forth. Billing. Obviously, your case management system at the office contains your billing apparatus. You can do that right from the iPad as well. A couple other things we'll kind of touch on. Prompterus. What's Prompterus? It's kind of a fun application. I don't do a lot of speeches, though I don't use a teleprompter. But if you happen to do a lot of speeches or like to have things on a teleprompter, Prompterus is basically a teleprompter on your iPad. Sometimes wonder whether President Obama uses it because I see him with his iPad all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if he has his speeches downloaded, in addition to the standard teleprompter he uses. If he doesn't, he should, because it's a handy backup. The nice thing about it is you can set it to go whatever speed you want. You can stop in case people are giving you thunderous applause and play again where you left off. So it comes in handy. There's also a number of fun applications teachers use a lot, basically whiteboard applications or chalkboard applications. Anymore, teachers are presenting more and more via their iPads onto screens or monitors. The whiteboard application allows them to do that using an iPad, basically with their finger or with a stylus, and what they write appears on the screen, whether they're in the classroom or across the country. The nice thing about that is during meetings or presentations, you can stop, look at the whiteboard, write down things on the whiteboard. This will be a handy thing to go back and review afterward. You can want to check on the recorded version of this. It's impossible in the context of even 3 hours talking about the iPad at the office to go through all of the different lists of applications that exist for lawyers. Some of the best that I've found, and I've looked at dozens of them, is Tom Miguel's lists, which you see in this slide, all about apps. Again, you can click on these when you access this the recording. If need be, let me know. I'll give you my email at the end of this presentation. I'll be happy to send you a copy so you can find these links. But Miguel is very up on this, and he has very good lists of applications he finds useful. This blog, Legal iPad, is also a good source of information because it's constantly changing. People are constantly posting to it, and just tips on how to get the most out of the applications, what kind of applications are being developed. There are, I think, close to 100,000 applications, not just legal apps, for the iPad. Hundreds of them are legal or productivity or business. Another good list that I've found useful is Miguel's, again, iPad apps in 1 hour. You can get that at the ABA, and access to that, it gives you a great opportunity to look at what he finds useful.
And Doug, I'm going to interrupt and let folks know I have those books in the CBA Lending Library that you can check out for free if you're a CBA member.
Great. And I never leave one of these presentations without telling people these devices have off buttons, and I would urge you to get comfortable with using them. A lot of people believe that the more they add technology to their practices, the more their clients or their partners or others will expect them to be constantly available all the time, that there will never be a chance to be fully off of work and fully out of the office. That's just not true. You set the limits on what you choose to use, and you need to be strong about that with partners and clients and everyone else. Let them know that simply because you might happen to respond to an email at 10 o'clock at night doesn't mean they should expect it all the time. This is an opportunity for you to shift your time, getting more done productively when you want to, and then getting home on time to enjoy yourself. Yeah. You can leave the laptop home. You don't have to carry your iPad with you to bed. Those are limits that you set yourself. So, with that said, let's try the really flying without a net part of this and mirror the iPad. Hopefully you should see this.
And Doug, while you're trying to get that started, can I ask a question? I think one thing that is critical for people to be able to do so that they can give up their computer is the word processing part of it. I know you had mentioned putting documents in Dropbox or Box, one of those. And what about the ability to create and edit, documents on a tablet? Do you think it's there yet? Do you think it's not even close?
It's there. I've written 42 pages articles on this.
You're breaking up.
I've used my iPad to edit. I've used it to lengthy documents. What I would recommend is not comfortable using the iPad's built-in virtual keyboard. If you want the Bluetooth keyboard folders,
You're still breaking. You're still breaking up. Sorry.
Okay, I think it's because I'm hearing it today.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's try. Reba, how's the audio now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Yeah, talking about editing documents. For lengthy typing, most people prefer using a Bluetooth keyboard. Basically, it's a holder for your iPad that contains a little Bluetooth keyboard that you can type on like you would a regular laptop keyboard. I find, frankly, that the virtual keyboard on the iPad itself is better for me. I can type faster on that than I can on a Bluetooth keyboard. And the idea, one of the things that appeals to me about the iPad is that it's a light, quick, easy to carry form factor. By the time you start tacking on Bluetooth keyboard folders, etc., it starts to look more and more like a laptop. So I like typing on the virtual keyboard. I've gotten used to that. I very rarely use my Bluetooth. But I'm going to try the mirroring again. One of the things you're finding out about this is that when I use two devices on the same wireless network, it can kind of create a lag. But we're looking at right now is my Office HD application. This is an article that I want to and opened it up via the Office HD application on this, and then do anything I want. Here's my virtual keyboard. I want to edit it. I can do whatever I want to the top keyboard. Simply click the save button, and I can either save it with the change or save as it if I want the change to be to a separate doc. So Office AD is what I use pretty much exclusively. What else do I use? Now I'm using Keynote, but on the book here. This is the whiteboard I was talking about. So basically, it allows you to write on this as you see here. I think this has been adapted because I'm trying to send this all across the country, but I just wrote this using my finger. You can also use the stylus, which I'm doing right now. My handwriting is terrible, even not looks on paper. The whiteboard on the iPad is a handy thing. Like I said, teachers use a lot. I've found it also helpful during presentations or meetings when people have questions, especially when we're doing it remotely. Sometimes audio doesn't work all that well. I can actually write the question and answer out. I annotate PDF is the application I use quite a bit to mark up and work with a PDF. If I want to, on this document, I can highlight where I want to highlight. If I want to highlight, I can mark the document wherever I want. If I want to set the text box, I can set the and with the text. Let's see. If I want to make a note, I can make it anywhere I want. It pops up the keyboard. I've created a note, just like I would in any of the PDF applications to go. So, once I mark the document up, I can choose to or not, depending on what my preference is. I want to say document. I want to say it for name. So that everybody comes in very handy for indicators. When preparing the position, they can mark up key documents and definition that they're planning to use. I'll mark the set, well, the regular set of documents range is unmarked. Use the regular document for pivots and their questioning, all their questions, all their highlighting, all their writing, all exists on their marked document. And you can definition straight there. I've done that quite a bit at a very handy application. So I am JP that I use all the time. Chart out this bit allows you to select the iPad demonstrate this on the regular site. So I show although I could. Because with this it. And you can't see the printer on the printer screen. I have last time, I have slide and times. So if I set the timer for, so I know at 10 seconds it's time to slide. And it is swap. We talked about file storage. The best applications for those are Box.com. The other application is quite a bit of my stash, hard drive. Java is basically a scanner. So if you've looked at a document, you'd like to look at the document, I want to carry it along, you simply picture it, and it presents a scanned document. It's a PDF, and do what you want. It's the kind of something you want to scan 500 pages on. If you have a page or two, it becomes very handy. Let's see, what do I use? Obviously, there are applications I use all the time because traveling. The note application, my favorite taking applications, it's basically a legal editing app. I can create a new document I want. Let's see here. Here's my document. I want to use paper, font size, I can hit line, once I get it out. If I click on that bar, I can write. Document shows up inside. This is as quick for me keeping notes as I would on a regular. So I haven't really added a couple here since I bought the iPad. We'll probably run out of time, Obviously, there's a whole lot more we talk about. If you want to leave questions, Jason, to answer.
And Doug, I'm going to mention that you were breaking up. I let you go ahead and continue, but whenever the screen is trying to refresh, it interrupts the audio. So if you want to go ahead and stop refreshing the screen, then we should be able to hear you as we're signing off here.
Okay, good. Yeah, I clicked off the
There we
mirroring,
go.
so it should
Gotcha.
obviously, like I said, there's a lot of questions. I'll give you my email address so that you can send me an email anytime you wish, and I'll be happy to respond. I'm kind of an advocate for the use of this device because it really has helped me. Without these kinds of mobile technology tools, I couldn't maintain a 5-state practice. This is the only way I can do this. I can't be where my paper files are, so I no longer use paper files. My email, in case you have any questions, is McQuiston, McQuis, S as in Sam, D as in dog, at nationwide.com. So feel free, or you can also pass them on to Reba, and Reba will pass them on to me, and I will respond. The best advice I can give you to close off is jump on, play around with your iPad, find the apps that work for you, and you're taking it to work. That's how I learned these. That's how everybody learns them. And like I said in the beginning, this isn't just for angry birds anymore. This is one of the most powerful tools that I've seen come out in over a decade. So thanks, everybody, very much. I think that concludes the presentation. And
Doug, we want to thank you very much for your time. There will not be a Tech Tuesdays in December. It's too close to the holidays, and we were afraid that there wouldn't be enough attendance. We will go ahead and we'll have one in January that's going to be on some sort of social media. In February, we already have the topic set, and it's going to be using Acrobat, the full version of Acrobat for things other than simply creating PDFs. So we'll show you the power of that in that Tech Tuesdays on Tuesday. So thank you again, Doug. We really appreciate your time. This will be recorded. It'll be available on cobar.org/TechTuesdays. Please feel free to send me any topic requests or ideas, reban@cobar.org. And I want to thank you all again.